this Internet of Value, you can actually transfer something of value. It could be something intangible, a currency, a shares, copyright, or it could be something tangible if you use certain technology like IoT to digitalize the physical product. You can actually transfer the ownership of some physical products like a bag or even a bottle of wine or real estate or painting artwork on the blockchain without involving any third party to increase the efficiency and lower the cost. And I think that's just a quick summary of like what's the unique feature of blockchain technology. But in terms of the development trend or the development stage of this technology, I think actually blockchain is at a very critical stage, because in the last 3 or 4 years we have seen so much hype. Because I got into blockchain around the second half of 2016. At that time, yeah, there are people talking about blockchain, but not so many. Especially like those friends around me, I think very few of them actually knew blockchain. But when it comes to like basically last year or this year, everybody started to talk about blockchain, and my friends just come to me and ask, hey, can you tell me about blockchain or cryptocurrency? Because everybody started to notice it. And I think a lot of institutions and enterprises already recognize the potential or the value of this technology, but we are now at a stage that the technology itself has to prove the real use cases, the real application, so that we can actually facilitate the development of the regulatory compliance requirement as well as the technology standards. Because if this technology doesn't have any real application, the regulator, they are not motivated to actually create some new framework or some regulatory requirements for this new technology or new asset class, if you will. So we believe that in the next 2 or 3 years, it's really important to show or to build the commercial blockchain applications, which will lead to the regulatory compliance development as well as the technology standards. So once we have done that, then this whole blockchain industry can reach a growth phase and even go beyond that, just like what internet did in the 5 years ago. So in terms of the development of the blockchain application, I see that there's a big emphasis on the financial application of blockchain in this conference as well as in this industry today. But we do believe that the financial use case is the ultimate, or maybe one of the best use cases for blockchain technology. But at the same time, the non-financial use cases are also very important, and those use cases or scenarios are easier to implement. It can let people to see the value of this technology more quickly. So we believe that using the technology currently available, we need to build the application first, and then let the application let the real application to inspire the infrastructure itself. The application is going to tell you what kind of, in which area your technology still need to improve, maybe in terms of performance or maybe privacy or security. And then you use the enhanced infrastructure to enable new application and create new business model. So at this stage of the blockchain industry, we really need to create or continue building applications, find those use cases scenario across different industry for the blockchain technology, and to leverage the smart contract and the programmable money, which is the cryptocurrency, to leverage all these features and create applications that can actually add value to the traditional industry, so that you will be able to find the way that you can actually connect enterprises across the industry. Because I think I'm going to use like 2 use cases to explain that. once we can do that, we will be actually able to create new business model which doesn't exist today. Just like what internet did, because before we had internet, there's no such business model like Uber or Facebook. So maybe at this moment we still don't know what kind of disruptive business model blockchain can create. But the first thing we need to do is continue build different applications on blockchain. So yeah, in terms of the trend of commercial blockchain applications, when I say commercial blockchain application, I mean that the blockchain application can be used by everyone in the daily life, not just a POC or a concept. I think based on, because in VeChain we have been doing that for the last 3 years, because with our partners we have been talking to enterprise in different industries, trying to build blockchain applications to solve their business problem. But you will find that to do that, it's not a one-step method, because you need to do that step by step. And the role of blockchain in this kind of use cases are also different depending on the stage or the maturity of the enterprises. Usually the steps, blockchain is the most easier function of blockchain is to provide the provenance of a certain product or certain activities to prove that this activity actually happened at a certain time and initiated by a certain person. That's the easiest application. It could be implemented very quickly. And the second step is to use the blockchain technology, the private key and public key, to actually create the identity of an enterprise or a product or a user on the blockchain, and let the user actually own the product on the blockchain and also own the data, so that at a later stage, the data owner can authorize other people to read this data or further contribute data to the same objective, for example, a bag or a bottle of wine. And the third stage which is the stage that actually bring the full potential of this technology, is use this blockchain technology to enable the value exchange between enterprises and between individuals. But to do that, especially if you want to implement that in the commercial way with the traditional enterprise environment, it's not just about blockchain. So you need, in order to implement that, blockchain is just the underlying protocol. It cannot be used. It has to work with other technology like IoT. Also, you need to provide infrastructure services and user-friendly interfaces and tools to enable enterprises to develop based on the blockchain, and also enable the users, the consumers, to use this kind of application. So I'm going to share 2 use cases that what we did in VeChain to kind of explain that. And these 2 use cases are actually at a different stage, as I just explained. It's basically using blockchain at different levels. So in those use cases, you will see that blockchain sometimes is invisible, or it's like you will see a lot of other technology like working together with blockchain. So I'm going to use the use cases to explain that. The first one is the product lifecycle management, because this is something one of the earliest use cases that we worked on with certain luxury brands out of Europe. So basically you use the IoT technology as, for example, an RFID chip or NFC chip to give an identity of a product and digitalize this product on the blockchain, and let different parties throughout the supply chain to collaborate and transfer ownership, as well as contribute more data to this product on the blockchain. So this is a typical use cases in the supply chain space, and this use cases is actually used, the role of blockchain in these use cases are more of a provenance plus the identity and ownership. So once we have this kind of use cases implemented, you have the supply chain data secured by the blockchain, and very naturally very naturally you will find a connection to the financial services. So I'm going to show you a very quick video. This is a video that's shot by one of our community members in the HM store in London.
I do show my screen, tap with it, then scan it, the camera,
Have more information to see more stuff?
So we worked with one of the brands in the HM. It's called Arkit. It's a brand focusing on sustainability. So this pilot project is to digitalize this green beanie and put it on blockchain and track it throughout the supply chain. So this one is actually sold in a lot of the store, and it was actually the best seller in the HM store London last month. Sorry, I have few time left. I'll just go to the next use cases. So this use case is actually I would say upgraded version. It's actually the role of blockchain is not just provenance or just identity. It's also facilitating the value exchange between different participants. So in this carbon ecosystem, which was set up by VChain as well as DNVGL, DNVGL is a third-party authority in terms of renewable energy and carbon emission. So we created this ecosystem to incentivize different players to contribute to the carbon emission reduction. So for any people, their activity, if you drive an electronic car, your activity will save certain amount of carbon emission. That activity will be tracked through IoT devices, and it will be measured by the experts in DNVGL. And we set up some smart contract, and the car owners will get carbon credits for their activities. So all kinds of electronic car is just one scenario. Any activity that can be tracked and measured in terms of how much carbon emission reduced, that can be used on this ecosystem. And on the other side, we have PICC like Bright Food. They are the enterprises who are willing to accept those carbon credits. So they accept the carbon credits for two reasons. The first reason, they can attract more new customers, like basically BYD car owners are their potential consumers. And on the other hand, they are showing their social responsibility, because every single carbon credits they purchase, because every carbon credit is actually backed by certain carbon emission reduction activities. So they are showing the social responsibility. For this, I also have a quick video to demonstrate how it works, how it was implemented. This is in Mandarin, but there's an English subtitle.
共同发起的一个项目，比亚迪是最早加入我们碳生态平台的企业，而秦 Pro 是我们碳生态平台上第一款支持的车型。秦 Pro D-Link 上面的车载 App 去上传车联网的数据，比如说里程、油耗、电耗等数据。然后我们区块链上接收到这个车联网的数据之后，计算减排合约，得出碳减排当量。我们再基于这个碳减排当量去发放碳积分给车主，就可以在我们生态上的消费企业进行消费。例如，在光明集团旗下的 Bright Code 去购买光明有机奶，从而实现比亚迪汽车、秦 Pro 车主和光明集团这种多方之间的一个价值连接合作伙伴。那相信在未来会有越来越多的消费类企业加入到我们碳生态当中来，秦 Pro 的车主会得到更多的消费场景、产品和服务。
So this is just a typical use case is to use blockchain, the feature of a value exchange, to incentivize all different participants to contribute to this carbon emission reduction course. So the last slides, I just want to emphasize the title of my speech, I think the future of the role of blockchain is going to be a protocol, a pervasive protocol, just like internet, that everyone is going to use in their daily life. Either you know knowingly or unknowingly. It's going to be working, underlining different applications, and will facilitate our daily life to provide more values. So that's what I want to share today. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much, Mr. Bang, and thank you for showing us all the user applications. Okay, so we are up onto our first panel discussion, and for the first session, we're going to look into industry blockchain application. And let's invite our moderator to come up on stage, Mr. Benny So, Senior Editor of Point Network. Hello, Mr. So. Okay, next I'd like to invite the following panel speaker, Mr. Frank Liu, Senior Director, Head of Blockchain Division from Ping One Connect. Welcome. Ms. Sabrina Tachian, Head of Investments at Unblock Ventures from Line Corporation. Hello, Sabrina. Thank you again. Mr. Kevin Fang, please come on stage, COO of VeChain. Thank you. And last but not least, Ms. Brit Northrup Blakeney, Innovation and Ecosystem Head of DBS. Welcome. Okay, so I'll leave the remaining time for you.
All right. Hello, everyone.
All right, so we're here to talk about blockchain application. And before we get started with that, how about we just kind of go down the line, introduce ourselves. So Frank, let's start with you.
Yeah, so my name